Hey, I'm that guy with the fish, and in this episode, we're covering beginner accessories. It's the absolute basics. Stay tuned. Good morning. It is a beautiful February morning, and the weather has once again, the weather man app, whatever, has lied again. Weather said it was supposed to be blowing 15 to 20 miles per hour today. Beautiful weather, and it's barely a light breeze. Maybe that's just my area. It could be blowing a gale on my fishing spot, but I digress. We're here. We have each other. That's enough for me. It better be enough for you. So I'm here. Trains in the background. I'm in my backyard. And we're going to talk about 5 beginner kayak fishing accessories. So let's get started. Don't just sit there. Come on. First, let's make things a little simpler on us both. If it was always that simple, life would be so much simpler. Let's start off with number 1. Now, keep in mind, I'm not going to cover safety basics. Most states require a PFD and absolute basic safety stuff. Some states require more, some less, and some require different safety gear for different parts of the day. Like around here, you're required to have, directional lights if you're fishing, in low light areas, and like a spotlight of so many lumens, blah, 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 blah. We're not going into those accessories. We are sticking with basic, beginner fishing, kayak fishing accessories. You get it. You're a smart one. I don't care what anybody else says about you. I have faith in you. I have faith. Maybe not a whole lot, but a little modicum amount. All right, first. So you're beginning. We got that clear. Beginning kayak fishing, right? Okay. You're going to want to take pictures. Naturally, you're going to want to share those on Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever it's called. Damn you, Elon Musk. Whatever. You're going to want to take pictures. All right? Some sort of mount for your phone. Be really advantageous. A mount using your rails, or this is an extra electronics pod that I purchased for my kayak that I keep my camera mount on. I also have a mount that I can put on here for my phone. I also can mount this generally about anywhere. Not a sponsor, but Yak Attack. They make some great attachments. They're a little pricey for plastic, but they're really, really well made. And I really like them. I think there's a couple other companies that make different accessories to hold your phone, but this is what I found that works for me. So give it a shot. Again, not a sponsor. Not affiliated whatsoever. Next, you're definitely going to want some sort of anchor system. It doesn't really matter where you're at. I happen to have a anchor wizard mounted on a armor plate made by SAI Snipe Air Industries. Fantastic. I mean, great product. It comes with all the bolts, everything you need to mount your anchor wizard. Some sort of anchor system. At first, I was using a dog leash, like a big dog leash, for like 100+ pound dogs, and tying some paracord and a 5-pound lifting weight. and that sufficed for a while. And then I got the Anchor Wizard, and I've got it rigged up. It goes up, and I've found one of these little S-beaners. That works really well. I mean, it's worked. I took some Kydex and made myself a protection plate for the front where that wire comes along, and that gives me a forward mounted anchor. And the anchor essentially is just a deep sea sinker. That is a 5-pound deep sea sinker. $8-9 on Amazon. And a stainless steel rigging here. Done. So, anchor. Get yourself an anchor set up. You will not regret it, especially if you're on rivers. I prefer a forward mounted when I'm fishing rivers, so I can go over rapids or little shoals and plant my anchor, and that way the current isn't pushing me further downstream. I can drop that anchor and fish back behind that white water, that current. You get it. Crate. Keep all your junk in with rod holders on it. Really, really handy to be able to, have something to put all your tackle boxes and your soft plastics and all, and keep them out of little areas. This kayak is nice because it has a big well in the back, and I can fit my crate and a bunch of other stuff. Some kayaks aren't so fortunate, but this is what I've invested my money into. Anyways, having a crate with rod holders on it, incredibly convenient, especially when you start to have multiple rods and setups. You get into that. But having something to store, say a lunchbox, a cooler, what have you. Having a crate is an absolute necessity, and you really won't find another kayak fisherman who does not have some sort of setup. And you can get incredibly inexpensive. I've seen guys go to Walmart and pick up, an Igloo cooler, if I can think of what it's called, and make themselves some rod holders. And what these are here, and I got another one on the side, is just some 2-inch PVC. I flared the top. I heated the top up. I used a kitchen funnel to help me flare out the tops. Used a Dremel to make a little indentation so the reel will seat in there. That cost me less than $2 and maybe an hour's worth of time. If I could tell you somewhere to get a cheap crate, I would. But I've had that crate for decades, and I just repurposed it. It was holding like clothes that I wore back when I was about 100 pounds lighter. Anyways, we're moving. The ground's still wet. Whatever. All right. Number 4. Keel guard. Now, when beginners, and I still do it too, they run up on the bank and they run their keel into the bank. Rocks, concrete, what have you. It's going to start to wear a hole into your kayak, and it's going to mess things up. You really get into it, you're on the water once a week like I am, then you're really going to start to wear out your kayak, and the plastic, it's going to wear away. This is a piece of Kydex. I originally had made a video of doing this, but I had no idea what I was doing. It was going to be more like a see where I go wrong, and it actually turned out really well, except, and I'll leave you with this tip. There are videos out there how to make these and the general purpose of it and the process. But a lot of guys are using double-sided tape. Well, if you don't seal around the plate well enough, it doesn't matter what kind of adhesive you're using, it's going to wear out when it gets wet eventually. I mean, granted, I used the Gorilla double-sided, and it's supposed to be water and weather resistant, blah, 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 blah. I haven't found an adhesive that can hold up the water ever. However, marine goop is not necessarily an adhesive. But what I've done is I filled it all up with marine goop, and while it was upside down, just stuck it on there, put a brick on top of it, and not a large brick anyways, and it suctioned on there. And then I went around and sealed it with more epoxy. Well, not epoxy, but a silicone. And that's lasted for a year. No movement whatsoever. And I've run this thing into all sorts of rocks and concrete. But you'll definitely want to get one of these. And you make them their own. And Kydex is really cheap. I got like a 1 square foot piece for like $15 on Amazon. But you will need like a heat gun and some metal shears. Believe me, you're really going to want to have some metal shears. So find a buddy who works with metal or has some really heavy shears. Or a Dremel might work. Dremel might work. Alright. Alright, last are actually a couple of tools. They're not so much accessories, but they will really help you if I can get my brain to act right. That'd be a first, wouldn't it? Anyways, fish grips. You can't go wrong. Especially if you're beginning, you catch a good fish or even any fish and you want to show the world. More power to you. A pair of fish grips are going to help you. Put this in its mouth. Get out your phone, put the fish back in the water. Get out your phone, get it all set up, and then pull the fish out of the water. Take your pics and release them back into the wild. And then release your fishing picture out into the wild. And get likes. And get a bunch of those. Hey, way to go, man. You don't suck. I got a couple of those. And just as an added tip, this is not a mounting point. This is a locking mechanism for those of you who don't know. There are some of you. Believe me, I've seen it. And just as an added bonus for my viewers, just because I'm a smart ass, tether absolutely everything. These are really inexpensive. They have a steel core, just a piece of steel wire, and I've put 8-pound bass on this thing, and he couldn't go anywhere. Stretch this thing out. I've put striper on this thing. They're really inexpensive. The clips, I've had these for years, and they've not rusted. So get on Amazon, find yourself some tethers, tether and mount everything. Remember, it's not if you flip, it's when you flip. And anyways, moving on. A good pair of braid cutters when you decide you're ready to move up to braid. Always handy. And some pliers. You will absolutely need pliers, because you'll have that fish that absolutely chokes that bait, and you'll need some long needle nose pliers. These were pretty cheap at Walmart. I've had them for years, a little rusty every so often. I'll hit them with some WD-40, clean them up, and they keep on going. I actually carry 2 pairs of pliers, one on my PFD and another in the boat most times. You good with that? Paying attention? Outstanding. I'm proud of you today. And there's the wind. Well, it's a beautiful day anyways. I remember. Maybe I ought to call this channel ADD Fishing. What do you think? Leave it in the comments. That little area you can type stuff and let your imagination and darker sides come out. before I leave you, one last accessory. A net. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy that collapses or anything like that. It could just be some inexpensive net. However, I do highly recommend one with a poly net. You will save yourself a buttload of aggravation with your hooks getting hung in like a fibrous net, and not that coated net either, like a real like rubber polymer kind of netting material. You get it. Oops. Anyways, where'd the sun go? That aside, I hope you learned something. I hope all this helps you out to some degree. Some of it might be painfully obvious, but there is always someone out there that it just didn't come to mind until now. So, if you like this kind of content, drop me a like. Consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. I'm nearly at 100 subscribers. It's kind of creepy thinking there's 100 people who want to watch my channel. Bunch of weirdos. Oh man, I crack myself up, don't I? Alright, I'm gonna get out of this wind. I'm making homemade pizza rolls. Not that you really need to know that. Anyways, I'm that guy with the fish. Where are you at? Hey, click these. Click right there, here, somewhere. Just sit there. Make yourself useful, crying out loud. I gotta put this away. Bye.